Hello and welcome. This is Darius Barazandeh, host of the U.S. Revolution. And if you're about to watch this amazing session that we did, then you're part of a group of humans on this planet who are ascending and moving into a higher frequency. You're not here by accident, and I'd like to offer you a special gift that will help you to adjust to some of these frequencies, plug in even deeper, and it's an energy activation MP3 that will double the power of your energy field in less than 57 seconds. It's absolutely free, and it's the first link in the description down below, but it's also going to let you get to hear calls like this one live and get daily help from healers, teachers, and masters all over the world. It's absolutely free, and it's part of what we're doing every day at U-Auth Revolution. So if you feel called in your heart, you can click the link down below, and the special session that you wanted to watch and experience will start right now.
Colette Stefan began her journey into the art of shifting energy after witnessing the remote healing of a family member who barely survived a fatal car accident. This search led her to discover the UN method, and after completing certification, she was designated by Dr. Cam UN as a certified UN method instructor. Now, we've never covered the UN method, so you would definitely want to be taking notes and really listening in to what this is about. I've actually been reading some of the work and some of the things that have been happening with people. It's absolutely incredible. That's why we wanted to bring it to you. Now, Colette didn't stop there. She's strengthened her understanding and skills by studying quantum physicist with cosmologist and inventor Nassim Haramein as an emissary of the Renaissance Project Foundation. She's also been initiated as a Reshiva Master. She's also completed her teacher certification in psychosomatic therapy, and she's also created a company called Crystalline Vision, the Art of Intuition. She is also very involved in healing. So get ready. If there's something affecting you in abundance, in your health, in your body, in your intuition, in just how you're feeling, you are going to want to be very present here. Tim W. said, I haven't been involved in various forms of energy work, yet nothing I have seen in the past 20 years compares to the work Colette introduced. Another person, Cynthia, who had bodily pain, she says, I had a dull pain under my right shoulder for literally 28 years, and I'm paraphrasing. I've tried many modalities. None were successful until I found you, Colette. My love and many. I have been experiencing debilitating pain in my pelvis and neck for over 6 years prior to discovering Colette. In one session, the pain, we discovered the root cause, and it cleared away 90% of it. Another person said, this is Laura. My husband had lost use of his right arm due to a work accident in 2005. He was extremely worried about not being able to hold his little girls. After one session, he was able to remove his brace and move his fingers. By the time the girls were born a month later, he had gone from wearing a brace to not needing one. Now he can work out on a regular basis. My doctor cannot explain why the arm started working again. He just told us to keep doing what we're doing. So there you go. People, dozens of people, another person who was in a weakened state of nausea on the phone, actually in less than 40 minutes, brought up, looked at, and deleted all of the blocks. Colette deleted all of the blocks between her and her infinite potential. This was Judy M., and she was thrilled. So these stories like this are legion, so let's just send a huge amount of love to Colette and get ready for an incredible call where many of you, I hope all of you are going to feel a big shift. The time is now. We're getting close to the 21st. Your miracle is waiting. It's going to happen. Let's send that love to Colette. On the count of 1, 2, 3. Colette, welcome to the U-Auth Revolution Ascension. Oh, I almost forgot to send you the love. Okay, everyone do it. 1, 2, and 3. Feel it come in, Colette. Welcome, and we're so glad to have you.
Thank you so much. I could feel that. Felt wonderful.
I am incredibly excited. I want to start out, for people here that are dealing with challenges, that are not getting the breakthroughs, or energy is keeping them locked down, or physical pain, what is going on? What is not working? What is happening in that situation where, for some reason, healers and teachers and energy masters are not able to break through that, but yet it seems like you've been able to do some pretty miraculous things?
Well, what I am doing is I'm just identifying weaknesses in the energy, and it's kind of like just flipping switches with the intention of my mind, with the strength of my mind, that would just remove the blocks. But any healing that happens comes from the people. Each and every one of us has the ability to heal ourselves and to return to complete homeostasis of our body. The reason why so many times people can't resolve pain in their body are very varied, because every human being on this planet is a unique individual, and they reach the pain or the discomfort that people feel in their body. They reach that sometimes in, like similar ways, but each person, the process, the steps that happen to create that for that person are unique to that individual. So a lot of times when people are insisting that a physical problem in their body is actually a physical problem at root cause, it almost never is. There's usually underlying weaknesses, energetic weaknesses, that are creating that. And human beings are operating on multiple levels of existence and time and space. And, we operate on the physical level and on the mental and the emotional and the psychological and the psychic and the spiritual level. So if we insist that it's all physical and the underlying root cause is not addressed, it's difficult to resolve the pain with, ease. It's kind of like peeling away layers of an onion to get to the root cause and find out what is actually blocking this person.
Okay. Well, your method is very different. The UN method actually is something I'd never heard of, and I want to maybe talk a little bit about how you discovered it and how does it work? Why is it working when other things just seem to be not working?
For me, what happened with me is I was going through a period in my life where my father had collapsed overnight, and he had Guillain-Barré syndrome. So he went into complete system shutdown, and he was paralyzed from head to toe, and he could only blink his one eye. And he had to recover, and I watched him in the hospital, and I watched how his physical needs were being addressed as much as possible. But there was underlying emotional and actually spiritual bothers that had created this situation for him. At that time, I did not know how to do this. And my dad regained all his facilities, etc. But it was a very painful, difficult experience, and he lost a lot of his dignity along the way. And, he was used to being a big, strong man, and to be reduced to that, it was very difficult. And then shortly after he died, about 5 weeks later, my niece was in a car accident. And the outcome, the prognosis for her was not good at all. And my sister had contacted a remote healer, and as he worked on her, and he was in BC and she was in Saskatchewan in Canada, and he was 16 years old at the time, and he just got in contact with her on a quantum level. And as he worked on her, she regained her facilities, and within 5 months she was actually in going to university, and now she's married and has a beautiful daughter. And when I witnessed that and I saw with my own eyes the miraculous recovery, I wanted to find out, how is this possible? And shortly after that, I discovered the UN method, and I went to, a little demo, and I left there, and I felt like this huge weight that I'd been carrying it just fell away. And when I started taking, the classes, and then I met Dr. Ewan, and I had a half-hour session with him, and I had been I had a severe case of sciatica at that time for several years, and they had actually diagnosed me, or were trying to diagnose me with MS. And I was like, I went to the hospital because my leg went numb one day, and they, and they said that it would be, that it was likely it was MS. And I just said to them, well, I don't do that, and I laughed. And I just thought, well, at that time I didn't understand how to do this work, but I understood that I didn't want to do that. And as I saw Dr. Ewan, and he worked on me, and I never, ever had any pain in my leg ever again. I have never to this day. That was 8 years ago. I have never had any problem with it ever since. And
wow.
and he just, you know, he's an amazing man, and you know, has been working on this for many years, and everybody that I teach this to many people, it's not really so much teaching it to them because everybody has the skill, and it's kind of like based on the concept is basically that, you know, if you considered yourself to be like a computer, you would be the very best computer that was ever built, and your central nervous system, your spine, would be the hard drive of that computer. And so every single thing that's ever happened to you in the past, in the present, in the future, and not only that, but everything that's happened to your ancestors and your descendants, what could happen to them, and all the collective influence and all the information coming in, all of that is documented on the hard drive of your computer, or your spine, your spinal column. And it's kind of like thinking of the software would be your peripheral nervous system. And then what I call, instead of MSN for the internet, I call it HSN. Because what we're dealing with here is the higher self network. And we are all connected. And so that's why we can all get in touch with each other. And we always are in communication with each other. Every single thought that every one of us has is spun out to the universe, and then it's pulled in, and it's pulled down to the tiniest quantum particles of our being. And what I find with this method is, what people who have done a lot of modalities tell me, is that it feels like the puzzles, the pieces of the puzzle just fall into place. And every single one of us has this ability. This is just reminding people that we can, and that any healing that comes from us actually comes from within.
Now, when you were going through that journey, I mean, you've since become an expert and certified in the Yuen method. You've taught thousands of people. You've created these huge breakthroughs. So I want people to get that you literally, after having this healing, literally went deep and became a master at it yourself. When you were going through this, you'd probably, I'd read, tried many different things. What was the importance of faith, of really being faithful that I am going to try this and see if it's going to work? I mean, was there a point that you had to really dig deep and say, this has to possibly be it, and I'm going to put aside everything and make this attempt?
Yes, I actually had never done any other method or anything. I was just driven by watching the miraculous recovery of my niece, and I thought, you know, when you see that and you witness that for yourself, I had no doubt. And quite honestly, I didn't have any limiting beliefs about, you know, quantum physics or anything of that nature. Most of us are more bothered by the misinformation and the misinterpretation and the misrepresentation of information that's out there right now. And the number one energetic weakness for most people in this world right now is it's like a mistaken identity, that they are not infinite beings and that they do not have infinite potential. And we all do. And very few of us use that potential to, you know, there's so much there. And for myself, what I did is I felt the relief. I felt the relief when the first time that I went to that demo, I felt it, and I wanted to get very good at it. I have, in the last while, in particular, probably the last 4 years, it's become a way of life for me where I'm automatically testing in myself, is my energy weak or strong to what is being said, what I'm about to do, what the people, the information that's coming in around me. And after you recognize it and you realize that you have that ability, then you can always be your own expert, because you just go to your intuition, and you go to your spine, and you'll just, after a while, you just start really noticing. And we all have those feelings. There isn't a mother out there that doesn't have that, you know, that intuitive feeling that when, you know, you just know that there's something happening with your child. Or we all have these intuitive hits that we get. This is more about taking all the guesswork out of it and just following the energetic weaknesses until you get to the root cause, and then you will have resolution. And it can be very, very quick. It's because there's no guesswork involved. It's actually like a process that you go through, and you just keep following the energetic weakness. It's so simple. The most difficult thing for me, or the most challenging thing, for me is to tell people, people are like, it can't be that simple. I'm like, yes, it can. Wow. When I first started doing this method, I mean, I had no anatomy training. I had no metaphysical training. I was taking on clients, and I would be talking about, to them, and I would be, it would just pop in. As you work on this, your intuition becomes very, very tweaked and very fine-tuned. And I would say, oh, it's the, I get a picture in my head. It would be like, oh, the whatchamacallit next to the doohickey in your body isn't working. Those two need to be strong to each other. And my daughter was she's studying to be a surgeon. And she'd say, Mom, you can't talk like that. And I'd say to her, but look, here's an email and their cancer is gone. Or, I had a man that was in total kidney failure, and he, his sister insisted that he call me, and he was kind of a cranky, he was kind of cranky about it. He thought it was ridiculous. And the next day when he went to his doctor, he was supposed to start kidney dialysis, and he ended up, his kidneys were operating at 100%.
Wow.
And the doctors are calling him the miracle man. And so this is what I honestly have seen so many miracles take place. And this is more about consistent miracles, because we all have this ability, and we are way more powerful than we give credit to. I have taught this to, as you said, to many, many people, or not taught them, but I helped them remember that they could already do this. And it is just so beautiful watching everybody they get so excited, like, oh, I didn't, this is so wonderful that you could always go inside yourself and find any answer. Because right now what's happening on this planet is there is so much information coming in. We have the internet, and we have, the news, and everybody's, is always hooked up to technology, and we always know what's happening. And so there's a lot of misinformation out there, and a lot of times there's a lot of answers that are out there. And what bothers people when you test it energetically, what bothers people more than anything else is if there's too many answers and they don't know which one to pick. And so when we're doing, with the Yuen method, the number one thing is that you want to be neutral, totally neutral to everything that's going on around you. So that if you're absolutely strong energetically to the very worst thing that could happen to you, and you're strong energetically to the very best thing that could happen to you, then you could be strong to absolutely everything that's happening to you in between, and remain neutral so that you don't have any judgment and you don't have any criticism, and that you don't have to say that something is good or not good or bad or not bad, that you positive, not positive, negative, not negative. I'm doing energetic corrections as I'm talking here, because I'm almost automatically working all the time and picking up weaknesses. And I actually felt the energy from the people that would be on this call coming in really, big last night. So I've been, up most of the night just picking up the energetic weaknesses that are coming in and just strengthening everybody to this time that we're in right now, because this is the most beautiful time of ever. And, if you're here right now, and you, wherever you're at is exactly perfect for you, because that's where you are.
Yeah.
And so it's really about everybody just realizing that you can always find the answers from within, because every answer is within you.
For people that have, I want to talk a little bit about the I don't know if mechanics is the right word, but you talked about the spine and energy being, or emotion being stored there. I want to talk about kind of that and the background of that. But before we go into that, for people that maybe, let's say, for 40 years have had a particular problem, or maybe they've been blocked financially for their whole life, or maybe they've had a pain for decades, I mean, is it really possible that this can be, in essence, removed or negated or unstuck through this method?
Yes. I've seen it happen many times.
Wow.
I've witnessed it many times. And not only that, many of the people that, they learn how to do this, or they remember how to do this, and then they're emailing me, and you're like, you can't believe what happened. I'm like, yes, I can, because it's about each and every one of us just using our potential. And when we talk about the spine, what the Dr. Ewan, he always had an ability where he could scan someone and he would find their energetic weakness. And he was very big in martial arts, and he would use that skill to be able to, win at his matches. And then what happened is he realized that he also had the ability to change pain instantly on the spot by focusing on someone's spine. So he gave up all his martial arts schools, and he became a chiropractor for 10 years, and he worked on thousands of patients. Because he realized he also was a structural engineer. He built rocket ships in his 20s. He's a brilliant man, and he understood that structure is the most important thing. And so for everybody that's listening on the call, if everybody just even thinks about their spine right now, and just put some tension into it, what's happening for a lot of people, a lot of the physical problems that people have right now are caused because there's so much the stress of the misinformation coming in, and we're inundated with it. And what happens is people are trying to relax themselves out of it. And what happens is your body here is relaxed. And so most people are pretty much relaxing themselves to death, It's kind of like you want to have your body, and as I'm explaining this, I'm also correcting it energetically. And when I say correcting it, I don't mean that it's good or bad or there's any judgment implied. It's just like flipping that switch to remove that block in the people that are listening. The fact of the matter is that your heart is your strongest organ. So you want to be strong to that perfect relaxation and effortlessness that your heart has. Your heart doesn't, if you don't have to think about your heart beating, it just does. And if you are aware of that your entire body could have that perfect relaxation and effortless relaxation, and then tension, and then effortlessness, what would happen is all of the functions in your body are going to operate at a much higher level. And so many people, like before they go to bed, and I'm just they'll try to relax themselves, and they'll lay awake at night, and that's when people really think about all their issues that are coming in, all the money issues and all of those things. A lot of the time when people have a health issue, it's actually just a fitness issue. It's if you test it energetically, it doesn't come up as weak on the health level, it'll come up as weak on the fitness level. That perfect tension, relaxation, and effortlessness of the body, if it's in rhythm to your heart, and I'm talking about the fitness of every cell, all the way down to the atoms, like all the protons, the electrons, the neutrons, and every part of your body, all the cells lining up, very streamlined. And so if you picture your body being very streamlined and light, and every cell in perfect alignment with the other cells, and that perfect fitness, that coordination of all the systems, and the agility and the speed of those systems, and then the flexibility and the strength and the endurance, all of that, much of fitness depends on how strong your spine is, how strong that hard drive of that computer is. And the thing is that a lot of the emotions that we hold, a lot of the, psychological issues and the different areas of life where we feel weak, that information is held in that spine. And when you start energetically letting it go, what happens is people say, like even now I could feel like people on this call letting go of some of that stuff. It's like what happens is people are taking in all of this information, and then they're being told that, if you just do this, it'll work, or if you just do that, it'll work, and then it just gets worse. And that just every problem that a human being has a trigger, an issue, and a choice to it. And human beings always have choice. We can choose, what happens is something will happen to us. Maybe we'll hear, a siren, or we'll smell a certain food, or we'll look at someone and they'll remind us of someone else, or, a voice will trigger us. And what happens is we don't realize where is that coming from? What's going on here? So we get triggered by it, and then it becomes an issue, and then we have choice. Like, which choice are we, like, what am I supposed to do about this? If you're not in alignment with your energy and you can't identify what that weakness is, you could be guessing, and it's very frustrating for people. So it's more about everybody just realizing that your energy will always it's either weak or it's strong. You're either in alignment with it or you're not. And so sometimes the most logical things that you could do, the most, that things that make the sense to most of the people out there, if you're not energetically in alignment with that, it won't work for you with ease. So when you start recognizing that you're in that alignment of your energy, everything's possible.
We've got a lot of people writing in. I want to share kind of what some people are feeling, what they're sensing. A lot of people are very excited. And I want to also let everyone know we're going to, at the end of the call, take a few people. So if you're really wanting to maybe have a little bit of help on this call, we can get the process started. And Colette actually is going to be giving some of you that, if you want to go deeper with her, like 30 minutes of a private phone session with her, and so that will be happening towards the end of the call. So just stay tight and remember that, this is definitely going to be very valuable, and so for many of you who have been trying and seeking, there's some truths in this that are going to realign you back to source and what you need to really get that transformation. So there are going to be tons of opportunities for everybody, so please do not worry. A lot of people are kind of frantic saying, okay, I want it right now, and sometimes we've got to work a little deeper than just what we can do on a short call. I just want to say that. But we've got Sonia who wrote in and said, I've been diagnosed with sciatica 4 years ago. My condition is getting worse the last 2 years. I'm just going to ask you really quick, Colette, like on each one of these issues, like whether you've seen resolution or you kind of understand what causes it, and there could be. So sciatica, that was similar to what you had. Is that something that you've worked with?
Yes. So getting in touch with Sonia right now, and it happened 4 years ago. It's coming up as a non-physical weakness. I'm just testing, I'm asking myself, is this physical and that's strong? Is it non-physical? That's weak. So her
what does that
issue
mean,
is
non-physical? Sorry to interrupt, but I'm salivating at the bit here. Okay, so when you tested her, non-physical, what does that mean versus physical?
Okay, non-physical would mean that it's her mind that's sabotaging her, or
so
it's her emotions coming in.
Emotions.
Or sometimes the mind and the emotions have had the same situation happen, and this is coming up with her. She was triggered by something that was a non-physical issue, so I'm just strengthening her to the emotional and the thought that she has over and over again, and I'm getting there's a great fear there that she's going to end up not being able to function. So we're just going to strengthen her to all spiritual experiences that have accumulated, that she's been associated with, that, any negative emotions that are coming up, any negative effects that are happening, and we'll just delete it. Like if you just picture a computer from her spine, all the stagnation from that's being created there, and delete it down to zero, negative, infinity. So it's past the point of even being zero. And then what comes up is we want to, anytime there's a structure problem, we want to find out, okay, where is that really coming from on the physical level? We want a lot of people right now, and if people want to stand up, I can work on everybody that's on this call right now, how you would correct structure as I'm doing it for Sonia. And it's about feeling the ground beneath your feet. And being strong to being able to handle any pressure that's coming up from the ground. That ground is there to support you. So we just want to be really strong that even with little babies that I've worked with in the womb, it's way more important the structure than it is any nutrition that's coming in. So we want to make sure that everybody listening here, a lot of people feel right now like they're on uneven ground. That's what's coming up. There's a lot of the information from December 21st and what's going to happen and what's not going to happen. And it's about being strong to being on this earth at this time, 100% infinite potential, so that your left foot and your right foot meet the ground evenly. And your left side is more like your creative side, it's your feminine side, and your right side is more like your masculine and moving forward side. So we want to make sure that the right and the left foot are meeting the ground evenly. And I'm just getting in touch with that. Like any building, if you were working on foundation, you want to make sure that the basement is strong, because if there's any weakness from the feet meeting the ground, what happens is that, if it was a building and the foundation was weak and it was crooked in any way, it's going to affect the top of the building very quickly. So what we want to do is just strengthen everybody on this call, like just to get in touch with that ability to, that their left foot and their right foot are, that you're centered and you're stable and you're balanced. And more importantly, centered and stable and balanced in body and mind and spirit. So we don't want to be in a position where we're more spiritual or we're more mental or we're more physical. We want to be very balanced so that no matter what comes at us from outside of us, that we would just let that go right through us, any external dynamics, so that no matter what, we would be able to stand firm on this ground. And we want to make sure that the left ankle and the right ankle back to the left ankle, that's nice and even. That's about your support. And we want to move up and make sure that the knees, the right knee and the left knee, are working 100%, so that there's an evenness in in the left side and the right side of the body. And then working the way up into the hips. And a lot of times when people have problems with their hips, it's actually coming from their jaw. And so there's different parts of the body will create weaknesses in other parts of the body. It's called like a referred weakness. So we just want to be strong. I'm just picking up a weakness in Sonia from her hips. It's just a slight twist, but it's also, I'm picking it up in her actual jaw right now also. And going up from the bottom, like we want to make sure from the feet all the way to the top of the head, and then from the top of the head back down to the feet, that everybody, like that your upper torso, your lower torso, and your head are in alignment, and that you're all, it's all nice and even so that the structure is perfect. And if we go up from the hips then, and we go into the rib cage, a lot of times people that are diagnosed with scoliosis, the thought is that, the crookedness of the spine actually creates a weakness in the rib cage, when energetically, if you test it almost 100% of the time when people are diagnosed with scoliosis, what happens is that the weakness came from the rib cage first. So we want to make sure that everybody that's listening here, just getting in touch with the rib cage, making sure that your rib cage is going to support your organs, your lungs, and that we want to be sure, and it's coming up with Sonia, her inhale and her exhale are not even. As soon as I got to that area of her body, it's kind of like we want to make sure that everybody is breathing in and breathing out evenly, and so that the rib cage is supporting that. And then if we go to the shoulders, we want to make sure that the shoulders are strong to each other, and then the elbows to the knees and the hands to the feet. It's going to strengthen that, and just getting in touch with that right now in her body, like any twist. We can go up from the bottom vertebrae and we could just work our way, and I'm just picturing like, okay, where is it weak? And just, getting in touch with that weakness. So is Sonia on like email there or?
Yeah, she's actually, let's see, she's submitting questions. So, Sonia, if you're feeling anything, we've had a few people actually with similar challenges like back pains. I know there's so many different things going on with everybody, so we really only took one. But Wilma Marie said, oh, my gosh, I have a strong feeling I'm going to receive a healing from Colette. She's very excited. Another person said, let me see. Joanne said, wow, I feel she's actually working on my spine right now. So a lot of people are feeling this.
Yeah, I can feel it running up and down my spine. I was in Spain with Dr. Ewan, and he had a chiropractor on the stage, and he had a lady that had scoliosis, which quite often will cause that unevenness in the, that we consider to be sciatica. And he literally worked on her, and her whole spine and everything cracked without laying a hand on her, and she was totally able to touch her toes 20 minutes later, which she had never been able to do. And since I was there and just witnessed it and took the information in on a intuitive level, I find many times when I work with people on their spines now, they'll crack, or even if it's like it seems incredible, but what's going on right now, I can feel that energy running up and down my body, and so I know there's a lot of people that are feeling shifts in their energy here in their body, and it's very important that when we're working on the structure of the body or thinking about the structure of the body, that we want to make sure that it's not just about the organs, like the spine and the skeletal system that could create this weakness for her. It's about the speed of the ability of the central nervous system. So I just want to get everybody just to really think about your spine right now and put some energy there. And, you have your cranial brain, and then at the base of your spine, you have your physical potential lays there. And so I'm just strengthening that for everybody that's listening right now, that energy can run very quickly with no stagnation, just very efficiently up and down that spine very quickly, so that those two brains or those two areas are working together with infinite potential. And that a lot of times when people have pain in their back, the sensations that come up from the pain, the thought of the pain bothers them more than the actual pain itself.
Yes.
So we're just going to strengthen everybody. When you think about the sensations that come over you, what happens is, we'll have a thought like, oh my goodness, my back is bothering me so much. Oh, here it goes again, and I'm going to be in pain, and I'm not going to be able to get out of bed, and how am I going to go to work, and all of these things. So we just want to take that thought and let it go. And then we want to...
Paula just wrote in. She said, I'm having massive heat running up and down the back of my spine. The energy is so strong. This feels great. So people are definitely feeling this.
Yes.
I want to ask this really quick.
I can feel it in my body, so...
There's a lot of people here. Obviously, I didn't realize some of you with back and bodily issues. When you get on the phone with somebody for like 30 minutes, I mean, what do you actually scan them individually, and you can see kind of like what we're doing here is sort of running work up and down sort of the general group, but you can actually see where the block is. Is that correct?
It's not so much that I see it. It's more that I feel it.
Okay.
Each and every one of us has a different way of feeling our weak and strong. What I'm doing is like I'm testing. Okay, what's that about? Okay, there's these weaknesses coming in, and I'm like, oh, it just will pop into your head after you've been doing this long enough. What happens is, and you start paying attention to your weak and strong. You're like, oh, that's what it's about. And what happens is like little words will pop in, and pieces of anatomy will pop in. Now that I've studied anatomy, it'll just pop in. Oh, it's this, and I don't even necessarily need to know what that body part is for as long as I realize, oh, there's a weakness there. I'm just going to focus on that person's spine, and I'm just going to flip that switch so that body part is now strong. And the person will say, oh my goodness, I feel so much better. The heat that people are feeling right now, I just want to let everybody know, if you are experiencing this, to push the energy down through the bottoms of your feet so that you don't get nauseated. Because a lot of times this energy, and when we have a large group of people on a call like this, there's a lot of energy running. And so it's not just my energy that these people are feeling. It's all this collective people that are here. Anyone that has a similar issue is going to feel a shift.
Wow. Well, a lot of people are feeling some shifts, and a lot of people are really interested in, finding out whether your work could help their challenge. And so we're getting, a lot of questions. Well, what about this? What about that? Is there something that you've seen this work actually not work on? I mean, running the gamut of many different issues, let's say relationship issues, money issues. I mean, are all of these things essentially connected in essence?
Yeah, because people are individual, what appears to be like an emotional issue might actually be an issue with the person not being able to have strong relationships. Or if someone's having a problem, with their work, with their career, a lot of the times it's because they don't feel that their purpose is in alignment with their career. And I tell this to people, if you think about like having a job, and there's many parts of every career or any job that we have that maybe we are not as strong to, like we're better at than at some things, and there's always parts of a business that you would prefer not to do.
Right.
So we just want to be strong that I just tell people, like, if I'm sending an email out, then I'm going to send that email out, and I'm going to play a little bit and just send, every time I send an email, I send an email with the intention that when that person receives that email, it's going to correct their number one energetic weakness for the day. And
yes.
it's fun because then you get an email back from them, and you'll get, so there is nothing, every single step of action that we take from the moment we wake up in the morning till the time we go to sleep at night, we want to be strong to that, to our daily routine. And then, you'll a lot of people at this time of year, it's the holiday season, and a lot of people's routine is changing, and you're out of your routine, traveling and children out of school and all of those things. So you want to be strong if you don't have a daily routine also, so that every step of action that you're taking in your business, if you're intuitively geared for it, it doesn't matter if it's sending an email or returning a phone call or, cleaning the toilet or, whatever you're doing. If energetically you're strong to that, what happens is it just keeps on boosting and boosting and boosting your ability to move forward with ease. And so many times the smallest little tasks we have, I think of that as kind of like practice for the bigger things. So that you're always using your potential, and it's, you're always able to pull that infinite potential forward, no matter what you're doing. Once you identify the weakness and you hit it on the nose, that person's going to have resolution in that problem very quickly. Now, some problems have many, many layers, and what happens is some people will be a little bit resistant to the change. Human beings fear change because a lot of the times the changes that have happened to them have been, not what they would consider positive change. But when you think about it, every single second of every minute of every day, there's going to be change happening. So what I do is I tell people to strengthen yourself, and if everybody gets in touch with their spine right now, just strengthen yourself, that any change that comes your way is going to be for the better. So you don't even want to, if you have a goal, you want to get in touch with that goal, and you don't want to put any limitations on how that's going to happen or any expectations. You want to reach that goal, but you kind of let go of how you're going to get there, and just one by one, what I do when I work with people is I strengthen the weaknesses that they're unaware of. Maybe what they think is a problem at work is really a problem with them being able to have a relationship with an employer and employee, the different people that are at work. It can be schooling experiences that they've had will come up sometimes as a weakness. A lot of us have different ways where the way we were educated will have weakness to education. And so I'm just getting in touch with that for people. There's so many, we operate on so many levels that each person is a unique individual. Many of us have the same issues, though, and have sort of reached that discomfort level by, similar things happening to us. But what this method does is it identifies what is the weakness, and when you hit it on the nose, the person's going to go, wow, I can feel that.
Right. Wow. Okay. Now, I want to do this. We've got a bunch of people writing in with different issues, and can you maybe, I know we don't have time to work on everybody. I mean, we're getting almost to the hour. I want to, just a quick yes or no, whether you've seen this, gotten better, or you've done work in that area. Can we do that just so we can address the mass of people? We've got huge numbers here. It would take us days to go through. Some people were trying to get on the free 30-minute session that comes with what you're doing, and they couldn't because we were having some challenges. I think the system was overloaded or something was put in wrong. I just want to let you know, if you were trying to be one of those first 10 people that's actually working now, so you can go to uwealthrevolution.com Colette, Colette. It is working, and the first 10 people get a free 30-minute phone session where actually she's going to look into your energy and see what's blocking you. So let's go through some of the issues really quick. I want to cover them. First of all, like shoulder pain, back pain, hip pain. Cheryl's asking about that. Is that something you've seen be taken care of through this work?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We've got another person writing in. Somebody's saying, Natasha said, I feel cold wind in the lower part of my spine. She says she's feeling pressure in different parts of her. She suffered from many UTIs and blocked fallopian tubes. And as I'm typing, I feel pressure in my fallopian tubes. And I assume that would be a good thing, possibly, for fertility
Yes,
and things of that sort. Have you worked in that area?
Yes, absolutely. And many times the problems that are caused in the reproductive system are actually coming from the digestive system or the respiratory system. And so, and many times, like if it's the respiratory system, it'll be the digestive or the reproductive. And so what she's feeling right now is the root cause is more from her digestion. So I'm just strengthening for her right now that pressure that she's feeling and that cold wind. That's just that lower brain that I was talking about, that physical potential. That's what she's feeling. She's feeling that kick in. And
wow.
So we're just going to it's amazing. And many people who are unable to get pregnant, it's just because their uterus is tilted. And so,
okay.
We can take any organ and center it so that it's from top to bottom and bottom to top, front to back, back to front, left to right, right to left. Every single person every single organ in your body would be centered and stable and balanced. And so we're just going to strengthen her digestive system. It's actually coming up as her fallopian tubes are coming up as from the ovaries more, and it's about the way she sees the world. Many times if people have an issue with their ovaries, they'll also have an issue with their eyes, or it'll be coming at root cause from there. So we're just going to strengthen the way
we had someone saying that too, where they had fertility and then also eyes. I just saw that coming in. This is incredible. Okay, and this person is, I think it's Natasha. I don't know if that matters, but yeah, this is Natasha in Atlanta, so I just want to address her, okay?
Okay.
Okay, let me ask, money and abundance. A lot of people feel kind of left out because that's a big issue today, a big thing that people are feeling. Where does this tie in, these energy blocks, where does this tie in with our abundance or money?
Okay, so let's address that. What happens is so many people put so much energy into money. I mean, our lives revolve around it, like having to go to work and, getting up for work and then leaving for work and then driving and then picking the kids up and all the things that we do. And so the force of money, the collective influence, how many people think about it and all the effort that they put into it, it's almost like a Mack truck coming your way. So you want to be really strong to being able to, in a physical body, be able to stand in that power to meet that energy. And so I'm just correcting it so that anything that, any external dynamics, like about any information about the economy being weak or that, you have to suffer and struggle to survive, a lot of those issues are actually coming in from our ancestors. Years and years ago, people had it, you had to work really hard to be able to survive because we didn't have, the machines and everything to help us out. So our ancestors quite often will come in and they'll be like, their energy will be weak to us not working hard. So we're just going to strengthen to eliminate that, set everybody free from it, independent, release, protect, and just let it go to wherever it needs to go. And then we're just going to strengthen everybody that you would be able to meet that force of money. And a lot of people, especially on calls like this, they want to be spiritual, and there'll be a lot of weaknesses around the spiritual experiences that people have had that you're not, if you're rich, you can't get into heaven. So we're just gonna, that's like more like a religious experience that's coming in really strong on this call right now. So we just eliminate that, so that when you're standing in the power within your body and your mind and spirit, we want to make sure that everybody listening here isn't going to be bothered by all that those external dynamics that are coming your way, that you would just let that go right through you. Any dynamics that don't belong to you, except for money. We'll just make that, thinking of that like, one of those money machines where, those
Right.
booths where you go in and the money just sticks. So it's just allowing that energy, anything that would weaken that energy to flow through you, and just keeping those external boundaries strong, so that no matter what's said to you or no matter what happens to you, that you're going to be able to stand strong in that energy. And it's often, a lot of times people will be asking, what is my purpose? And it's, and if it's not, if your purpose isn't strong to the career choice that you're doing, let's just strengthen that for everybody. Your purpose is actually just to be you. So, and to be the best you that you can be. So we just strengthen everybody to that, all the opportunities that come up, so that many times what happens is we'll face challenges, and let's just strengthen everybody that those would be opportunities, so that we don't have to get triggered by any past successes or failures. Many times when people feel like, well, it worked last time, or this worked financially last time, but it's not working now, and they can't figure out why, it's because a lot of times when we have a success financially, it triggers the failures that we've had. And most people would think that when you approach your absolute worth, that would be your greatest fear. When most people energetically go weak is when they're approaching their absolute best. So we're just going to strengthen everybody to your absolute best. You're an infinite being operating at 100% infinite potential to the power of infinity and beyond, strong. That you would be able to see your goal and feel it, and then feel yourself in it, and then let go of all expectations. How is that going to happen? And let go of all limiting beliefs from you, yourself, your ancestors, from descendants, about the world becoming a worse place. The world's not a worse place. The world's a beautiful place to be. So we're just going to strengthen everybody physically to being able to be on this earth and produce, and it's coming up as a weakness in the molecules, actually. So we just strengthen everybody on the molecular level to be able to produce in this third dimensional world. That if you take your feelings and your thoughts and your emotions and you just separate them and bring them back together really quick, and you focus on your midline, your intuition with perception added to it will give you that insight. And so we're just going to strengthen everybody's insight, that they could picture the goal that they want to achieve financially or in abundance in other areas of life, in relationships and et cetera, and that you would be able to be invincible, and that it's inevitable that you would see every possibility that would come your way and be able to take a step of action towards your goal. It's important that the universe loves steps of action.
Okay. We've got a lot of people asking. It's just a quick announcement. A lot of people were trying to get the 30-minute session, and they were having trouble. So refresh your page, because there was a problem with the link. I don't know what happened, but refresh your page. If you're on any pages and you're trying to get through, refresh your page and click the Add to Cart button. You should be able to get through. And I'll just say again, since some people are kind of wanting to get a session with you, Colette, it's uwealthrevolution.com, COLETT. If you also can't remember how to spell it, just go to uwealthrevolution.com/now, NOW. Colette, when you've worked with people that have abundance issues, what are some of the things you've seen happen when they release that? I mean, is it something that just kind of goes away and then their lives go back to normal, or do they really start, I guess, seeing big shifts in their money? I mean, how does it usually happen for people?
Well, I've had people, for instance, I've worked with real estate agents that are selling homes, and you can energetically correct a house to let go of any energetic weaknesses. And I've worked with a few real estate agents. I've worked with lawyers in court cases.
It's almost like people, because some of us, energetically, we're trying to earn money or have a business or do well, and our energy is off. And so we may go approach somebody or want a job or want some work or sell our art or poetry, and it's like no one wants it because the energy is just off, like that house or like that case.
Yes. And when you said that, what came up is that would not be a financial issue. That would be a relationship issue. And so if people insist that, oh, you know, my finances, they, you know, I can never make it work, and you'll hear people use the words never and always, and, you know, nothing is never or always. Anything, any weakness can be strengthened. I've seen people let go of amazing things. You know, when it comes to I had one young lady, she showed up, I provide quite a few free demos, and this was in Vancouver, Canada, and she showed up at the demo, and she came with the intention that she wanted to get a modeling contract. And she emailed me 3 days later, just by sitting in the audience. She emailed me and she said, I just got a contract in New York. You know, so many things like that do happen, because if you let go of what the real weakness is, then you can move forward with such ease and effortlessness. That's what I love about Dr. Ewan. He says, do things with less effort.
Yeah, I love the idea of less effort, because it's
Me
getting
too.
to, you know, a lot of people are trying so hard, it's making them physically sick and ill, and they're not getting the results. I want to talk about why now is a very important time, and a few other questions are coming up, so can we do kind of a rapid fire?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. One person is asking, let's see, we've got a lot of people. One person actually felt heat traveling from the base of my spine up to the nape of my neck. One person was asking, and I want to be careful moving into this area, because I know we can't guarantee any healing. I mean, I'm going to say that, you know, everybody's different. But for people with cancers, if anybody has a challenge, you must continue to see your doctor. That would be our recommendation. Do not stop traditional treatment. But when you see people with severe things like that, have you been able to see some changes in those areas, or maybe Dr. Yuan?
Absolutely. Absolutely. When it comes to cancer, what Dr. Ewan says about that, it's just a bunch of cells that decide together and they want it to be more important and create an organ. There's the ways that people get to disease are in different order, but many of the reasons why we reach a so-called disease, cancer most of the time is an unevenness in the left to the right side. It's an unevenness all the way down to the cellular level. It's kind of like if you had a lot of people in a room and they were like messing your house, and they were urinating, you know, defecating all over your house, and they were all in a group together and they were creating a bunch of waste. You would feel like it was a hopeless situation, like if you had to live there. But if you took each of those people and you spread them out around the world and broke it down, it wouldn't be that challenging at all, because you would just let it go. So a lot of times, if you had, and I do want to say, if you know, you make sure you see. I'm not a physician, but if you do have a tumor of any kind, if you get in touch with that right now, I've actually had people. I was at one demo where a lady's tumor shrunk from like about, you know, it was like the size of a golf ball to like a pea within 5 minutes at a demo. And the thing is, yeah, I've seen such incredible things happen that. It's kind of like, I actually, one of my interns reminded me of that when I was teaching a class the last time, and I said, oh, I forgot about that one. And, you know, it's because they're like, really honestly, this is such you just hit the energetic weakness and you have resolution. So for a lot of people, if there's anyone listening in right now that has cancer and you're taking treatment, we're just going to strengthen the diagnosis and any karma, direct, indirect, or partial from ancestors, from the collective influence. And that's making me cough. It's kind of like having to swallow down the words, and the fear that comes up just by being diagnosed with that it's a huge fear. So we're just going to strengthen everybody to let go of the fear around it. And then also we just want to strengthen that if you're taking any medications, you're using chemo or any of that, we're just going to strengthen that you're going to get 100% infinite potential from any medication that you're on. and that anything that does not benefit you, we'll just break that down and delete it and send it out of the system through the colon and the bladder. And we're just going to picture any tumors just really like just breaking them down all the way down to you take it from the atomic, from the cell to the subcell, to the molecules, to the atoms, to the subatoms, to the nucleus, to the subnucleus, and then you just picture that you're using your mind to break that up and just to send it out of your system. So it's going to strengthen everybody's lymphatic system, the circulatory system, and the central nervous system. That the thought, like the intention of your mind, that you would be able to break that down, and just making sure that any medications that anyone's on, whether it be for chemo or cancer or that, or for any psychosomatic drugs, any of those things, that you will get 100% benefit from that medication, and that anything that isn't working for you with that medication, that we would just delete the symptoms down, and then just strengthening everybody to the karma of, direct and indirect and partial karma. It's kind of like coming in from any of the medical, the knowledge around that, the pharmaceutical companies,
yes.
All of that, just being strong to that energy, and being, like, as I said, any external dynamics going through. And just thinking about every cell and everybody, and we want to make sure if we have enough tension in our body, it's difficult for cancer to take root if you have tension in your body, and we want to make sure that everybody's pH level is 100% strong for them at this time. So that if you think about the alkalinity of your body, we just want to be strong to it being perfect for us at this moment. And then we also want to just strengthen that, that when you think about the seriousness of the diagnosis, just letting that go, so that if you don't have to hold all of that information in and pull it into your body. Just letting it go I'm doing some background corrections in my, just that I'm not voicing here. So we want to just make sure that every cell is lined up perfectly. And when you picture those cells, you want to think about not just the cells themselves, but the empty cavities in the body, reflecting that macrocosmic space. Like, so the entire, all that energy from the universe, all that infinite potential that you have, having that so that you don't have any collapsing areas in your body that are not supporting you structurally or energetically. Okay.
Now, I want to do this. A lot of people are asking, there's actually, if you want to get a free 30-minute session with her, it's going to be included in the work that she's brought for us to actually do this. I mean, we're literally very passionate about getting you to the point that you can apply this and do this and get a 30-minute session with Colette where she's actually going to read you specifically and do the work for you, and that is at uwealthrevolution.com, Colette, C-O-L-E-T-T-E. And we have several spots left for that. They are going quick, so you may want to take a look at that. Colette, a lot of people asking about a lot of different issues. I'm going to just get to the gist that if there's something going on, you definitely owe it to yourself to try it. And a lot of people feeling some very powerful things right now and wanting more. And one of the things that we wanted to do was give people a way to go deeper into what you're doing and start to open up this healing for themselves and others, which I think is just astounding. Tell me about what you have put together for us, because it looks like we've even got the ability for people to do a lot of this themselves and also understand remote healing. Tell me about each piece. I'm going to ask you about each of them because there's so much here, but tell me about what you put together for us.
What I did is I made 3 recordings that focus on relationships, on physical potential, and also on money. And what I did is I spent quite a bit of time, and I used protocols that I've been working with Dr. Ewan for 8 years, and just gathering all the information and all the experience from the demos that I've done and from the private sessions that I've done and from the classes that I've taught. And what I did is I got in touch with what the weaknesses were for the collective influence for the entire planet. So It's kind of like those 3 teleconferences have a lot of general corrections that it's kind of like that if you listen to that, if you have that weakness, it'll peel that one away, and then if you listen to it again, it will reinforce you letting that go and maybe clear another issue and another one. And the beauty of it is sometimes it clears thousands and millions of issues at once.
Oh my gosh.
And that's when those people will, they'll phone or email and say, I can't believe, they just, a lot of people, this is just from, what people write in and tell me, is they listen to these and they could feel the energy running through them. And they'll have, huge, And then I also did one explaining, because so many people want to know why, how does this work? And that's why I went and studied with, quantum physics. So one of those is a recording explaining how I, remote healing, how I feel that, the information I've gathered, how I explain it to people. And it's a beautiful thing, because if you start understanding that the unified field that we live in, it has perfect structure and harmony, you can see that in nature everywhere. You can let go of the fear that we live in this random universe that's just, like going to give it to you, It's more like you live in this perfect structure all the way down from the tiniest quantum particles of your being all the way out. So I go into that recording in a little bit more depth. And then I also have one of that's from Dr. Ewan's. He had some affirmations. But with the Ewan method, it's not about saying the affirmation to yourself over and over again. What I did on that call is I corrected energetically that anyone listening to it, if you have that weakness, that it would be cleared. So if we say affirmations over and over and over and over again to ourselves, and we're not in alignment energetically, it's like our body feels us lying to it every time, and it actually weakens us instead of strengthening us. So if you look at the affirmations that I have on that recording, are actually I'm energetically correcting them as I'm talking about what they are, so that if anyone has a weakness in them, that it would be cleared for them. And it's very powerful. I find them very, very powerful. And then I also have a video of how to identify your weak and strong, and how I teach it when when I teach a seminar. And I videotape that, and then I also, the second video is how to correct that energetically on
similar
on
to,
yourself and for others.
When you talk about doing the live talks and things and people having things just totally shift, like tumor shrink and abundance issues go, I mean, this is literally like that, but even probably more powerful, because it's much more time and you're dedicated to shifting that energy.
I've put a lot of time into this package. This package is exclusive for this. I got in touch with it. It's this time of year right now. There's a lot of people that are, feeling this December 21st energy. There's a lot of people that are triggered by holidays, and I just sat with it, and I did put quite a bit. It's basically what I would teach in a course, which I've never really put out there before. It's the protocols. I'm sharing some of the protocols, but what I'm doing is I'm sharing the information, but I'm also energetically correcting it as I'm saying it. And I got in touch with what are the leading weaknesses for everybody on that call. And on the one video, I worked on the woman that you mentioned, the one whose husband had the arm that wasn't working.
Right.
She also they had twin daughters, and she talks about that on that video, because she came and she took a level 1 class, and she was pregnant with twins, and they only had one placenta, and the outcome was not going to be very. They were not expected to do well, and so she, I worked with her on these twins, and those babies were born. So healthy. Wow. And there was, the doctor actually was like, when they opened, because she had the babies by cesarean, turned to the husband and said, how is it possible that these babies are alive? Because there was 5 knots in the 2 cords.
Oh,
but what happened is I had energetically corrected those babies, that they would share their weaknesses and their strengths equally. And these beautiful babies are like about 1.5 years old now. And I went over, and visited with them about a week ago. And you watch them and you think, wow, you know, when you think about all the prognosis, everything that was going to happen, they were out of the incubators in like 4 days at 32 weeks. And they were off oxygen in 3 days. They were home from the hospital in 5 weeks. And the number one weakness for it was when she found out this information, she was, of course, devastated. And I told her that the number one weakness for any child is a mother's worry. And I felt her, you know, snap into, because if a mother does not see a brilliant future for her children, who's going to? And she, those babies, she was like super mom, and those babies are so, I mean, it's just so much, they're absolutely identical. And they're, you know, they're very bright, and the doctors forgot that they are even premature. They don't consider them premature at all. And,
well,
and from an out,
this
so
is
she talked
incredible.
A little bit about that.
You know, the thing that came to my mind was, you know, for the people who maybe they couldn't control what their mother was thinking or putting on them as a child, you know, this is where they get to correct that. They get to program their life through this work. I'm getting a lot of questions, Colette, and I think these are just incredible. It's literally, Trent said, Colette is very powerful. My spine is burning up. I'm listening as she's nonstop full of knowledge and wisdom. She's remarkable. Another said, one person saying, if I can shift the belief, can I experience abundance? And I think the answer to that will be yes. Another person asking how many spaces for those private sessions are left. Guys, there's just a handful, so if you're interested, go to uwealthrevolution.com, COLETTE. Let's go through what's in here. So we've got just a few minutes left, and I want to make sure we cover what's here. It's at uwealthrevolution.com, Colette, COLETT, and you put this together for us specifically, and the first one is an energetic clearing that basically clears people every time they listen and gets to the root of the issue and allows them to connect with their intuition and experience total neutrality. Can you tell me really quick about the first item, the physical potential recording and transmission?
Yes, absolutely. What I did is focused on physical, like the structure on a physical level. And then I focused on the fitness of people and correcting energetic weaknesses towards that. And then the physical potential, just those two brains that I'm talking about, just doing a lot of corrections on that. So that entire recording is dedicated to that physical presence on this earth.
Wow. And so as people listen to that, they actually get the clearing that we're talking about. Just by listening, is there a limit to how many times they can listen?
I don't, I have people that tell me they listen to it over and over again, and I have, a lot of times I'm amazed by the results too, because I know they're not coming from me. What's happening is layers are being peeled, and if your structure is corrected energetically, it can go a long way to correcting, all the problems within your body. If the systems, if you're physically corrected energetically, that everything's working at 100% potential, that all the systems are working with each other all the way down to the cellular level, this is also great for youthfulness.
Wow.
You can actually correct yourself energetically to go backwards in time instead of forwards.
I love that. Yeah, age backwards. I love that.
Yeah, so this is
quick
part
question.
of that.
The next area that you talk about, that you cover, what is that? The next piece is the relationship insurance, I think. And this is not just like relationships of loved ones, but also maybe, as you said, us with the world and our abundance and our relationship to money, our relationship to miracles, our relationship to the higher energies of the planet. Tell me about that.
Yes, the good news is it's all about you, and the bad news is it's all about you. So every relationship that we have relationships with people, we have relationships with buildings, we have relationships with countries, with cities, we have relationships with going north, south, east, west. And on there I share, like, you want to make sure a lot of times any financial weaknesses are relationships. And you want to make sure that your actual physical environment is going to support you in your relationships. And so the 5 elements that they're all supporting you, that the city that you live in is supporting you, or the country that you're living in is supporting you. Sometimes we'll have weaknesses energetically to the place we live, and we're not even aware of it. And we want to be strong to relationships, like we have relationships with people, we have relationships with our pets. You were saying that your pet was like, you know, wanting to be around. It's my dog and my cat have to be like leaning on me when I'm right now on this call.
Wow.
Animals love this energy, and I have really felt that a lot of animal energy coming in this week. It's like the animals are going, woohoo, they're finally catching up to us.
Right.
You know?
Now, quick question. We got a question from Mary. I'm sorry to jump in, but I want to try to get to everybody's question as quick as possible. If someone says, okay, I find I'm weak in the area that I live, my house, my relationship, what do they do? Do they have to move, or is there a way to clear to strengthen that in some cases?
No, absolutely. You wouldn't. No, moving. You don't want to move. If you have a weakness where you're living, a lot of the times it could be a weakness in that you keep on repeating. You know,
right?
Okay. People repeat and recycle things because they want to resolve. But just for a quick, I just want to share this with everybody on the call here. Is that you can stand in your power anywhere. And you can just sort of picture yourself standing in your power, centered and stable and balanced. And just think of the ceiling of the room that you're in, opening up and letting the molecules of any negative energy out. And just push what you want in that room. It works really well when I work with dancers or, you know, people that are taking the stage, being able to claim their space wherever they go. So no matter where they go, your energy would support you.
Okay. I want to ask about the next piece, which is money, because we had a lot of people asking about money and abundance. And you have something called shaking the money tree. Tell me about what that is and what people could expect from that part of the package. There's a lot here, and I want to make sure we get to that. Then we have the affirmations for success.
Well,
we have remote healing, how it's possible. And then you show people how to find their weak and strong. You show people how to align their energy. And then, of course, some of you are going to get the coaching. There's a 2-hour coaching call that's included, and a bonus offer for the first 10. And I think we still have a few spaces left there. So this is at uwealthrevolution.com/Colette, COLETTT, and I want to be sure, yes, ATTE. So really quick, the shake your money tree to go to to be sure we can get to everything here.
We actually that was actually named like collective cash flow. It just got mixed up a little bit, but it's cool. It doesn't. I just have fun with the names. I got in tune with this, and what I really wanted to let people know that are listening in, the best way for you to make money is for you to benefit others. And so, if what you're doing benefits other people, you want to be strong to giving that to other people, but you also you want to be strong to receiving that energy back.
Right.
So many people hold on to their money, you know, and they're like, when they're writing their bills, they're thinking, oh my God, and they're writing that check and like, and it's kind of like if you hold on really tight, you can't, and you don't let it go with ease, then what happens is it's difficult to receive. So we're just going to strengthen everybody, every benefit that you ever gave any other human being or animal being on this planet, that you would be strong to receiving that energy come back to you. I picture that like an infinity loop, that you would put that energy out, benefit other people, and then you would receive that energy coming back to you, and then you would feed that back out. And I'm just strengthening that all of us could do that for each other. Everybody that's listening in here could just get strong to bumping each other up in your results. So that as each of us feels like the benefit of this, that it would strengthen everybody else that's listening in.
Wow. Okay, so that piece is included. This is incredible. And so this piece actually people can listen to, again, energetic clearings every time they listen, and they get to the root of the issue on that piece as well, relating to money and clearing layer upon layer. Now, the affirmations, you said interestingly, if we're not cleared, the affirmations can actually weaken us, and that's why there's a very important thing to realize why regular affirmations don't work. Tell me about that and how this actually alleviates that. Well,
the affirmations, as I said, if you're trying to force yourself, you know, and you're trying to turn something that was negative, like you can have, you know, negative things happen in your life. And if you're trying to take something that was negative and turn it into a positive, it's impossible. A negative's a negative, a positive's a positive. So you just want to be strong to negative and positive and just experience what you're experiencing. You don't have to experience it forever. Just feel it. A lot of people will suppress it, and then that's what causes the physical discomfort. So what we can do instead is we can just feel that, you know, and just call it an experience that we're going through and let go of it, and then we'll get resolution. So if we're saying affirmations to ourselves and we're trying to force ourselves, like through motivation, you know, many businesses fail after 3 years because it's just a statistic. And it's because Dr. Ewan says, like, the shelf life of motivation is about 3 years.
Wow.
You know, if you're forcing and forcing and forcing yourself and you got to struggle hard and you got to do this and you got to do that, it's much more fun if you do it effortlessly.
Yes. Oh, wow. Okay, so that piece, I'm just flying through this here, but those actually are things that will clear the energetic blockages and allow you to return to neutral and then align with your highest potential. I want to ask you about returning to neutral before we're done, and we've got like 5 minutes. Remote healing, and this is how remote healing is possible. This actually is a processing MP3, this item 5, or is it just an explanation, or is it both?
It's more of an explanation, but with me, as I said, I've been using the Ewan method for 8 years now, and it's basically become a way of life. So I'm almost always automatically testing energy, correcting weaknesses and strengths everywhere I go. And but this is an explanation of what I have, like the best way I could figure out to explain to people how it is possible that we're all connected in that unified field, and how it is that we are able to get in connection with each other, even if we're like, you know, I've worked on people in Shanghai, China.
Wow.
And, you know, from Canada. And I was on another radio show, and a woman from Shanghai, China, in 5 minutes, she hadn't been able to stand up and walk because she couldn't breathe for a year and a half. And, you know, she thought it was asthma, but it was actually she was weak to being in Shanghai, China. And as soon as I energetically corrected her to being strong to being in Shanghai, China, and sort of energetically got in touch with why that was, then all of a sudden she's, you know, and then I worked on her lower and her upper torso being strong to each other. I worked with her for an hour after she had a private session with me, and what happened is I asked her, well, so how's your breathing? She goes, well, I walked 2 miles to work. She goes, I don't want to work on I'm breathing fine now. I want to work on my money now. So, you know, and so this is the kind of, you know, because the beauty about this is we're actually taking the memory and the residuals and the remnants and the sentiments out of that so that people don't have to hang on to any part of it. You know, it's just like, just let it go and move forward. It's kind of like in neutrality, the best way I can explain it is if you're stuck in the mud in a car and you just keep spinning your wheels and you just keep, you know, spinning, what happens is you get into a deeper rut. And so if you put your car into neutral and then you just push it out and just slightly change your direction, you know, you're going to get out. And you're not going to go back and patch up the ruts. You
Exactly.
know? You may as well just go forward.
Wow.
So you can always energetically correct your future to be stronger than the moment you're in right now.
Wow. Okay, we've got a bunch of people with questions. I want to keep going through this really quick. It's at uwealthrevolution.com/COLETTE. And you not only, the cool thing about this is if you're not energetically strong to something in your life, you don't have to move, necessarily change it. You can align yourself to become strong to that. And that is a big thing. And you'll know what's strong in your life and what's not. And then you'll know what to align and what's not. And that is a key thing because there's so many things particular to each person. You have to know how to do this. And this is why item 6 is actually about how you find that, finding your weak and your strong. And that is a video, right? So they can actually use this and get this life-changing skill right now. And apply it. So that is happening. And then item 7 is aligning their energy. So you actually show them how to flip their energetic switches to align their cellular energy, their cellular memory, and everything else, and they can do this themselves, correct?
Mm-hmm. Everybody already knows how to do this.
Wow. Okay. And then the other thing I'm going to say real quick, because we're getting we got a minute left. You literally have a 2-hour coaching call that's happening for everybody. That's happening in January. There's a date on the page at uwealthrevolution.com/Colette, C-O-L-E-T-T. That is happening. There will be probably a recording of that for those that miss it, and that is going to be happening as well. And for the first 10 people, they can get a 30-minute private phone session with Colette. I don't know where we're at right now. I suspect there's a few spaces left. I would just jump on it. Even if you're listening to this and it's a replay, jump on it, because usually we might be able to gently and energetically with love twist Colette's arm to opening up a few more sessions possibly, and you never know if you're one of the early group, you may be able to get on that as well. So I would say go and do it no matter what and get that session. And Colette, this is incredible. I'm going to tell people it's actually 84% off. It's retail value of $950, and it's $147. And we always have a 30-day money-back guarantee for people. We want you to absorb it, use it, and experience transformation, but we also want you to be happy. And so with us, we always take care of you no matter what. And it's incredible. Colette, anything I missed or any final words here that you need to share with everybody as we're trying to rush through this?
I understand. I just want to thank you so much for what you're doing. And I want to thank you for allowing me to share this, giving me the opportunity to share this information with people.
Yes.
It's been such a strong, it's changed my life for the better in so many ways that it's just way more fun if I get to share it with people.
I am excited. We have so many people here that are wanting transformation, and I am excited. This is fresh. This is new. This is really, through the results you've shown, been effective for so many people, and just for them to be able to get on the phone with you or to get on the webinar with you and know how to do this themselves and get you to help them and connect with you and your community and really change their life energetically and be able to know for the rest of their life what is energetically strong for them and what's weak. I just see it as a huge value, and so we have a lot of people excited, a lot of people going forward. Guys, just, it's your time, definitely your time. So, Colette, thank you for being here and sharing. This has been amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. As I said, I really appreciate it. And thank you to everyone who's listening. It was wonderful being in your energy.
Yes. Well, let's send her a huge amount of love. And I know a lot of you, Milton, we're going to work on that financial block. Milton says it's brilliant. Thank you. Joanna, Sherry, and many. Joanna says, how do we get one of the sessions? Joanna, it's at uwealthrevolution.com/Colette, C-O-L-E-T-T-E. And some people are asking, how do we get the time with you if they're one of the first 10? I assume that we will be forwarding all of that to your office, Colette, and then your team will coordinate with each person. So Janice in Baton Rouge, you're in. Susan, you're in. Kimberly. Kimberly says the link is not working. If anyone's having trouble with the link working, just refresh your page. And it should work. So this has just been a huge thing for people. I thank you, Colette, for offering this gift. Again, the private session is going to be set up through her. It's at uwealthrevolution.com, Colette, C-O-L-E-T-T-E. There's one L there. All right, Colette, thank you for being here. Much love. This was incredible. I am so happy.
I am too. Thank you.